Hello students, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jagdeep. In this video series, we are learning about market structures. In our previous video, we took a look at how monopolistic competitive markets earn normal profits in the long run. This video shall focus upon the kinked demand curve under oligopoly. So without wasting any time further, let's get started. For all the students who do not know what an oligopoly is, please take a look at the features of oligopoly before coming over to this video. Okay, let's take a look at the kinked demand curve. So ideally, the kink version of demand curve is covered under two school of thoughts or two models. The first one is called the Sweezy model and the second one is given by Hall and Hitch. So they have propagated the kinked version of the demand curve. Now, just to give you a brief account of what Sweezy's model was and what Hall and Hitch's model is. So Sweezy's model is basically focused on price rigidity, and he kind of derives the price and output based on the marginal cost, marginal revenue approach. This model will give you information about how the kink occurs, but it fails to tell where the kink in the demand curve would occur. Sweezy's model is more theoretical and more assumptions based. On the contrary, when we talk about Hall and Hitch, they kind of interviewed few entrepreneurs back then, and based on that they came up with this. They also mentioned that the prices are sticky. However, their pricing determination is more or less cost plus marking, or you could say average cost plus the markup model. And since they interviewed a lot of entrepreneurs back then, their model is more evidence-based and it is more closer to the real world scenario. But a lot of textbooks still prefer to use Sweezy. Alright, so we'll be using the Sweezy's model here and we'll take a look at why the demand curve has a kink under oligopoly market. So if we remember the features of oligopoly market, we know that there are very few firms, but they are very large firms, and at the same time, these firms are more focused on non-price competitions rather than price competitions, and that is the reason why you get a kinked demand curve. Let's take a look at how the demand curve under oligopoly market would look like. Students, if you are watching this video on your mobile, please hit the hype button so YouTube could push this video to more learners just like yourself. Also consider using the thanks button below. Your support is super crucial in creating more high quality free content for students just like you. All your support is appreciated. Thank you so much. Let's take a look at the diagram. So when we draw the kinked demand curve, so the demand curve is a combination of two slopes. One is the elastic slope and one is the inelastic slope. So this is how your demand curve might look like. So let us say this is the demand curve. Let me name it as demand curve and let me name it as A and B. So here we have the price and the output conditions. So let me name it as price at equilibrium and quantity at equilibrium. Now equilibrium is a topic for the next video. This topic is just focused on the kink of the demand curve. So when I say kink, it is basically this bend at point B that you see here. Ideally, demand curve is a curve which is a linear curve downward sloping, or in higher version you would see a non-linear demand curve like this. Alright, but this demand curve has two slopes. One slope is above this price and the other slope is below this price. Okay, now we are identifying the reasons why the demand curve is behaving like this. So ideally, as I mentioned, these businesses do not indulge into price wars. And as we also looked in the discussions above, that Sweezy's model is more theoretical and assumptions based. So the two assumptions that we have over here are as follows. Let me just write these assumptions down. So the first assumption is, if the firm in consideration increases the price, other firms will not follow. Okay, so let us say if the firm increases the price to this level, let me call it as P1. So this is where the quantity would go. It's reducing by a very huge amount. All right. Why is this happening? Because obviously there's just one firm that has raised the price, the other firms did not follow. So consumers would not be willing to buy goods from this firm which raised the price. So the demand for this particular firm would end up being elastic. Okay, since there are substitutes available, it will be elastic. Likewise, if this firm tries to reduce the price, let us say this is the new price, it's P2, we can see that there is an increase in the quantity, but it is a very teeny mini small increase that you can see, correct? What happened over here? So when this firm under consideration reduced the price, other firms followed and they also reduced their prices. Now what happens when everybody is reducing the prices? The consumers would obviously have a lot of options available over here, since every firm is following the suit of bringing the price down. So this firm might not see a bigger increase in their sales. So the demand, even if it is increased, it's very small increase relative to the fall that they had when they raised their prices, correct? So in this case, when the price fell, the increase in quantity is very teeny mini. When they raised the price, the reduction was humongous, right? So these activities over here that we just did are basically the assumptions for Sweezy's model, and based on these behaviors, we see that the firms might see highly elastic demand until point B and highly inelastic demand after point B. Clear? Let me just write that down as well. So A, B segment of the demand curve is elastic. That means the price elasticity of demand is greater than 1. Likewise, B, D segment, which is this one, has inelastic demand. That means the price elasticity of demand is less than 1. And this is the reason why we would say that firms under oligopoly market would not engage in price wars, because ideally when they are engaging in price wars, the overall situation for both the firms are not favorable for either of them, and hence they would not be willing to make changes in the prices of their commodities. They would rather focus on non-price competition, which includes product discrimination, maybe better after sales services, maybe better customer care, better customer relationship management, better advertisements, so on and so forth. And this is why we say that the firms under oligopoly market are highly interdependent on each other. All right. So this is the reason why you would say the demand curve under oligopoly market would have a kink. Students, if you find this topic challenging, you could join one of my online tutoring sessions. We could dive deep into this topic, and I'm already working with multiple students across countries like UAE, Qatar, Singapore and Hong Kong. You can reach me directly on the number that is displayed on the screen, and you could get a 30-minute complimentary session. If you find learning through long videos daunting, you could also follow me over my Instagram channel. I shall meet you in another video. Until then, bye now. Take care.